Hello everyone, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Athar. Good afternoon, everyone. We will be starting soon. Meanwhile, requesting everyone to keep themselves in mute mode and request everyone to turn off their camera, please. Thanks. Please turn off your cameras. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, team. My name is Pradeep Lingam. We'll start in a bit of time, just 2-3 minutes more. We'll let everyone join. Many people have registered, and I think most of them are already here on the call. So we'll give just 2 more minutes to start off. Thank you.
Good morning and afternoon, everyone. This is Aisha Mohammed. I'm the Partner Channel Marketing Manager driving Surface commercial business across Middle East and Africa, and I'm part of the Microsoft community. Today, I'm joining you and welcoming you all for Reddington Surface Business Technical Training on ground for the next hour or so. The section that we will cover today dives deeper into Surface Hub technical trainings and devices technical trainings, covers the entire portfolio, offers you various ways to quickly and more deeply understand the positioning and technical aspects of the portfolio. Even more technical depth is provided in the appendix of this session at the end of the training. You will have access to decks that would include summaries of accessories and other complements of the devices that will help you deliver a more targeted solution experience to customers. Before we kickstart this session, I want to first acquaint you with the platform that we're using, Microsoft Teams, which is, I don't think it's anything new for any of us focusing on selling Surface devices on ground. If you're joining us from one of our previous sessions, the session works just like before. If this is one of your first sessions, then there are a couple of housekeeping things you need to know before we get started. First and foremost, the session is being recorded, so you can replay this at any time on demand at the end of this session. When you join this event, your name, your email addresses, your phone details may be viewable by other session participants in the attendee list. So by joining this session, you're agreeing to this experience. Please note that you will be able to look all these assets that would be shared in our today's session. All the deck links will be presented to you at the end of this virtual session through Reddington. On the side of the screen, you will notice there is a chat tab where you can key in questions anytime throughout the session. We recommend to please key in your questions in the chat rather than speaking, because we've got 2 hours on this session. We'd like to deliver as much content as we can. I have 2 of our Microsoft champs, PTSs across Middle East and Africa, supporting Pradeep and the team Reddington on ground to take your technical questions. All questions that we cannot answer during this session, Reddington team will come back to you with a response in a timely manner. We will have a bit of a time for Q&A at the end of the session, so that's when we open room for any of you to unmute and attend to questions that probably our support team could not attend during the call. I'd like to introduce you to Pradeep, who will now take you further with the technical training and introduce himself. Thank you, everyone, and have a super day.
Pradeep, we can't hear you, I guess.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yeah, I think this has become a trend. to start with, can you hear me? Okay, so my name is Pradeep Lingam. I'm the lead consultant for Microsoft Surface Devices. I support all the partner ecosystem across GCC except Saudi. I am a partner trainer and partner technology strategist, and I support the Microsoft account managers and Redington account managers for the key accounts, government accounts, enterprise, education, healthcare, the key accounts that I take care. So I'm here to support you and walk you through the agenda of the training today. So we'll get going. I would like to reiterate that these are purely technical trainings. As you must be knowing, the agenda is the technical training. It's not the sales training. So positioning, competition, objection handling are not covered in this session. In order to maintain the flow and respecting the time given to complete the agenda, which is 2 hours, will not be able to answer as many questions as possible. So as Aisha announced, I am shadowed by my colleagues, Sibusiu and Mohammad Atia, who will be taking care of the QA in the chat. Okay, I would like to preferably have a dedicated time for the question and answers. I'll try as much possible. In case we will not be able to do that dedicatedly, at least 5-10 minutes, and then you can always, leave your questions on the chat. Sibusiu both Atia will try to answer. If not, end of the call, I will refer back and will come back to you as early as possible. Right. So thank you for joining. Thank you for the opportunity. And I request you all to mute your cameras and mic, and so that, to maintain the decorum, so that we are not distracted during the call, during the training. Thank you. I'll just share my slides. Just want to confirm you're able to see the slide deck. Hello.
Yes, we can see the slide.
Okay, so thank you for that.
We can
Thank
hear
you for the confirmation.
Yes. Go ahead, man. Yeah.
So this is the first topic. The Microsoft Surface Hub 2S will be covering architecture, setup, and configuration in detail. These are the topics we will be covering. So introduction to Surface Hub 2S, unboxing, Teams experience, deployment options, architecture, and connecting to backend services, backend devices. Account creation and configuration, device setup, and managing Surface Hub 2S as the local admin, managing Surface Hub 2S to centrally through Microsoft Intune, which is the mobile device management, and monitoring Surface Hub 2S and recovering and diagnostics. So these are the topics. So I would like to start the session with a teaser. I know many of you are the Surface partner in the region for a long time, and I see in the participants today, many are new, recently onboarded partners across GCC, and even for the older partners, the resources are new, and they also need the retention, reiteration of the training. So I would like to start from the introducing the Surface Hub 2S. So that is Surface Hub 2S for you.
Pradeep?
Yeah. Yeah, hello, anyone?
Yeah, just go on, Pradeep. We hear you.
Yeah, all right. So just want to start with the teaser. And if you have been a partner of Microsoft Surface Hub over the period of last 3-4 years, particularly starting with Surface Hub 1, as you can see in the teaser, a lot has changed. The Surface Hub 2 has become as a lighter, slimmer, sleeker device, a mobile device particularly. The form has changed, the functionality has changed, and it has become much, much better. Right, so I'll start the slide once again. So Surface Hub belongs to Surface Business Commercial Differentiation Strategy, in which we also have additional devices. So apart from the Surface Hub 2S, which we are getting exposed, we have the other devices. Those are called as individual devices. And Surface Hub, this being meant for meeting rooms, be it small meeting rooms, focus rooms, huddle rooms. This is meant for shared spaces. Okay, so two different type of devices. One for the individual spaces for personal use, obviously for productivity, and this is for the Surface Hub 2S is for the meeting. This is the all-in-one collaboration for the teamwork at the modern workplace. Okay, as you can see, it's not just the device hardware alone. It is I keep saying all-in-one because this is many things rolled into one. One is it's the device, and then you have the accessories, mobile stand, the keyboards. If possible, you can connect the Bluetooth keyboards. AV, you can enhance the Surface Hub 2S experience into bigger meeting rooms, larger meeting rooms, into professional AV environment with the third-party peripherals, be it cameras, be it conference phones, be it speaker phones, be it audio systems, installed audio systems, and all this. And you have the other modern tools for the management, be it Intune, mobile device management service from the Microsoft 365, be it Azure Data Analytics, be it Windows Update for Business, be it Windows Store for Business, which are dedicated. So Surface Hub is not the hardware alone, not what you see, but just the device alone. It is all in one. Okay, so it's all-in-one collaboration device. That's what. This is the language you should also speak to your customer. So just say it's not trying to compare with the traditional video conferencing systems, not trying to compare with the or the MTS Microsoft Team Room systems, or no, then you lose the conversation. So this is what Surface Hub separates, differentiates from the other solutions. And obviously, all-in-one, once again, I keep saying, I would like to keep saying, because it's not the conferencing solution alone, it is the collaboration. That's what we would like to say, all-in-one collaboration solution. So it works on Skype for Business and Teams, because the world has kind of moved to Teams. This is for the conferencing, both Skype for Business as well as the Teams is for conferencing, facial communications. Whereas the other applications, be it Microsoft Whiteboard, be it Office 365 applications, be it line of business applications, industry specific applications, these all will help you in collaborate real time. Like Teams is the cloud offering, cloud application, cloud service. Whiteboard is also a separate, individual, independent, the tool. It's a digital canvas, and it works along with the Teams, but it's an independent as well. So for collaboration, we use Whiteboard and Office 365 applications, line of business application. For conferencing, we are using Teams or Skype for Business. So the positioning is not just the conferencing solution. So this is the language I would like you to speak to the customers when, particularly the salespeople who are on the call. You need to, this is how you justify it. It's not the conferencing call. So if you see the traditional video conferencing systems, they allow, the focus is more on the conferencing, the facial communication. Focus is less on the collaboration. So you used to get a HDMI cable to connect your laptop and share it. So that's more of a showing than the actual sharing. Here on the Surface Hub itself, we have the installed Office 365 applications, whiteboard for that matter, which is the unending digital canvas, which is a brainstorming tool, and you have a lot of templates and tools within which you can do a lot of things in the whiteboard itself. Okay, so as you can see, Surface Hub is fully integrated with your Microsoft environment. It integrates with Microsoft services, particularly with Office 365, Microsoft 365. It has its own Exchange resource account. We call it as device account. It can be called as room account or resource or equipment account. Whatever it's called as, it has its own dedicated account. It has to be configured with the resource account or the device account, not with the user accounts. So we will discuss that in a bit. So it can place and receive calls on the Skype for Business or the Teams, and it is easy to set up for the Exchange and the out of the box experience. The first time setup is actually completed in a few minutes. If everything is on the cloud and if you don't have any complex hybrid setup, Exchange is on premise, and then hybrid setup, if you're still using Skype for Business, if it is on premise and hybrid, unlike those, if it is a Teams and your users on Azure ready, you can complete the setup in flat 20 minutes. This has been the experience. It does not need to be domain joined, but it can be domain joined as well for the to give you a better safety and flexibility for the IT team to maintain and support the user base. And it supports two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, and users can, apart from the application that I mentioned, users can also access the OneDrive for the content. So it's basically more of a cloud-connected device. Instead of saying just the purely conferencing solution or the collaboration solutions, I would like to put it as a cloud-connected conferencing solution. So we will start into the agenda, so which is unboxing, since most of you are new, recently onboarded partners. So we'll get into the setup of the device right from the unboxing. Just a minute. So if you would like to know more about Surface Hub positioning, I am pasting one of the link here. You can just refer to it. It's about 7 to 8 minutes Microsoft's mechanics video. You can refer to back it and know more. This is from the user's perspective and in detail, Surface Hub 2S positioning. Just a minute. I think audio was missing, so I'll just share it once again.
It's time to unbox your new Surface Hub 2S. Unboxing is simple, but you'll want to be sure to have a colleague to help and have your mounting solution already assembled before you begin.
We've designed the box for the Surface Hub 2S to be easy to maneuver and transport. There are handles on each side of the box to help you move it from the moment of delivery to the space where you'll set it up.
On the front and back of the box, there are 4 clips, 2 on each side, which must be removed completely before opening. Once you've removed them, lift the top off the box using the handles to reveal your Surface Hub.
While it may be tempting to immediately remove the hub, be sure to open the accessories box located in the base. The accessories box contains the setup guide, which covers the setup process. You'll also find the Surface Hub 2 pen, Surface Hub 2 camera, and the power cable.
In the box for your mounting solution, you'll find mounting hardware along with specific instructions. On the back of the Surface Hub, there's an instructional label showing you where to attach the mounting hardware. You can now install them in place and remove the label.
If you're using a mobile stand, remember to lock the wheels so that it stays in place. Be sure to lift the Surface Hub with both hands and support the bottom of the device. Align the installed hardware with the slots on the mount so it rests firmly in place. Follow any further instructions that came with your mounting solution.
Now you're ready to unwrap your Surface Hub 2 pen and attach it magnetically to your preferred side of the device. Remove the lens cling from the camera and attach it to the USB-C port on the top of the Surface Hub. Insert the power cable into the back of the device and plug it into a power outlet. At this stage, you can run the cable through any cable guides on your mounting solution for a tidy, clean look.
Now for the final step. It's time to remove the screen cling. And now your Surface Hub 2S is fully assembled. To get started, just press the power button on the bottom right and follow the instructions to complete the setup.
So as you can see, Surface Hub is not just the device alone, it is the full solution. It is a full mobile portable solution. This is actually a solution from 3 different companies. Surface Hub is the device itself from Microsoft, obviously, and Microsoft has tied up with a company called as Steelcase, which is into modern office space solutions, office furniture solutions, to come up with this mobile trolley. So what you see there is the mobile trolley, which is designed in coordination with the Steelcase, which Microsoft and Steelcase designed it together. So that's the mobile trolley. This trolley helps you to take the device to anywhere, from meeting room to meeting room. As you know, these days the meeting rooms are busy. Most of the collaboration happens in the meeting rooms, not anymore in the big large meeting rooms or boardrooms or auditoriums. 50 to 70% the collaboration, in fact almost 90% these days happens in the small meeting rooms, be it focus rooms, huddle rooms, small meeting rooms in size up to 8 to 10 meters in size. So that is exactly the reason many vendors, not only from Microsoft, many other vendors which are into similar solutions, including the Microsoft Team Rooms, the focus is more on the small spaces, shared spaces, collaboration spaces, what you can call it as. Apart from the Steelcase, which has helped design that mobile trolley, with the mobile trolley you can take the Surface Hub meeting room to meeting room. If the meeting room is overbooked and then you have the colleagues waiting to take care of, take over the meeting room and you need to find another space, you can actually take the Surface Hub to another space. So now what is missing here is the power to carry your meeting anywhere and between meeting rooms. So now Microsoft also has tied up with a company called as APC, which is into power solutions, batteries, UPSs. So they have come up with, now it's called as in fact, APC is a Schneider company now. So APC has come up with a battery called as Charge. So Steelcase mobile trolley is called as Roam, and APC's battery is called as Charge. Okay. Apart from the mobile trolley, which I think 70 to 80% of the installation these days are on the mobile trolley, but in case you would like to, anyone would like to fix the Surface Hub to a wall mount is also available from the same Steelcase. So Steelcase mobile trolley and APC power Charge, which is a battery, helps you make what Surface Hub what it is. All-in-one collaboration device to take you anywhere. In fact, we have seen in big enterprises, the Surface Hub 2S is being carried in the lifts to between the meeting floors.
Sorry to interrupt you, Pradeep. We are unable to see your screen.
Yeah, I've not shared. See, the focus is more on the content. I've kind of disabled my camera as of now. As and when required, I'll enable, but the focus is more on the content. Okay, so here I am. Just give me a minute. So we will now see the unboxing and setup of the video along with the battery also. Just give me a minute.
Surface Hub 2S was designed for teams to use it everywhere. We've partnered with Steelcase and APC by Schneider Electric to design accessories that enable mobile, unplugged, uninterrupted teamwork.
In addition to the mobile stand and battery that we'll focus on in this video, Steelcase has also built this slim, easy to hang Roam wall mount, so you have a range of mounting options.
To start assembling the Steelcase Roam mobile stand, begin by removing all the components from the box.
Begin by opening the green bag and then attach the mounting plate to the first leg. Ensure that you attach the bracket on the leg to the correct side of the mounting plate. Repeat this with the stand's second leg and be sure to tighten the screws firmly in place.
Now that the mounting plate is attached, you can stand it right side up and lock the wheels so it remains stationary. Place the tray in the middle of the stand and use the 4 flathead screws to secure it in place.
If you haven't already prepared your Surface Hub for mounting, go ahead and do so now. Once you're ready, open the orange bag and attach the 4 hardware mounts to the back of the device. With the help of your colleague, lift the Surface Hub from its box, supporting it with both hands. Align the hardware mounts with the slots on the mounting plate until it sits firmly in place. Using the remaining 2 screws in the orange bag, secure the Surface Hub to the Roam mobile stand. If you don't have the optional battery, finish by securing the lid using the screws in the clear bag.
To enable true mobility, we've partnered with APC to build the Charge mobile battery. First, lower the battery into the tray and then secure it in place using the 4 screws provided.
Now locate the 3 cables from the Charge mobile battery box. Plug the 3-pin power cable into the output AC port on the battery and connect it to the corresponding port on the Surface Hub. Next, plug the 2-pin cable into the output DC port on the battery and connect it to the port on the device. Finally, connect the USB cable between the battery and the hub. To charge, connect the Surface Hub power cable to the input AC port on the battery and plug it into a power outlet. On the back of the battery, there are lights to indicate the charge status.
When all the cables have been plugged in, run them through the guides on the legs for a tidy, clean look. Secure the tray in place from underneath using the remaining 10 screws in the clear bag. You can wrap any excess cable around the inner ring of the tray.
That completes the setup of the Steelcase Roam mobile stand and APC Charge mobile battery for Surface Hub 2. Now your team can unplug and collaborate anywhere without losing their momentum.
So that's what makes Surface Hub unique. You can carry it anywhere, and it is a very unique solution. I think nobody has it, where you can carry your meetings between the floors, between the meeting rooms. So now the unboxing is done, including the setup, physical setup of the Surface Hub with the mobile trolley, Steelcase, as Steelcase Roam, which is the mobile trolley, plus the APC's Charge battery. So we'll get into the first time setup. What we call it as UBE, WOBE, which is out of the box experience. Just a minute, let me get the slides. Yeah, so during the video, the two videos that we repeatedly played, particularly about the mobile trolley and then additionally about the battery setup, some important things I would like to bring to your notice. And this is what the box it would look like, the tray, which contains the camera, 4K camera, as well as the pen and the power cord. And this is the entire setup, because in the video it will be very faster. So by the way, so the video is from the YouTube. You can go to YouTube, the Surface channel. There's a Microsoft Surface channel, and then you get details about all the unboxing and usage video about all the products, particularly Surface Hub 2S as well. The videos you're seeing are both from the Surface channel. You can Google it anytime and then see it's Surface Hub 2S unboxing and setup, Surface Hub 2S steel case unboxing, APC charge battery unboxing, and you Google it, and you can always refer to those before going for your installations. So these are the items that you need to focus. One is the box, the accessories tray, basic camera and the pen, and the front side and back side of the Surface Hub 2S. This is how the pens look like. Pen has the AAA battery, one single AAA battery. So we'll have to pair it. That's a Bluetooth device. You have to pair it to the Surface Hub 2S. And camera is the 4K camera, and it connects to Surface Hub through USB-C, and it magnetically attaches. So you have to be really careful, since once you mount Surface Hub 2S on the mobile trolley, it's kind of slanted, about 15 to 20 degrees slanted on the top. So you'll not be able to access, unless you're very at a good height, you will not be able to see those USB-C port. So you'll have to take the camera. I suggest you from the behind, and then put it on top. It magnetically latches onto it when you take it nearly, and it has the tether. So when you trying to unplug it, so I would also suggest it moving, just kind of bending it forward and then latching it out, like take it out. So while again, this is how you box it, unbox, in case after the demos, in case you're carrying the box, you can just put it the same way, put the device back, and put the pen and camera in the box, and then pack it same way and between for your demos. So that's wanted to tell you about the physical setup still. Now we'll get into the UBE out of the box experience. Just a minute. So we spoke about the physical setup so far, the physical mounting on the steel case as well as the battery. So we'll get into the actual configuration, still called as setup. The first run program, or the UBE, the out-of-the-box experience. Obviously, any device needs the region-specific details, the country that you are in, the keyboard, the language, and the time zone that you are in. So these are the initial details that you need to configure. And if you're trying to set up multiple devices in an enterprise, okay, I would suggest there's a feature called as provisioning. So which means, so instead of unboxing and setting up each device, which may take in the hybrid environment, particularly on-premise and the hybrid environment, which may take about 45 minutes to 1 hour, if you prepare a provision package. Let's say an enterprise has ordered for 10 Surface Hubs 2S devices, and their meeting rooms. Obviously, their meeting room accounts, device accounts. They give you beforehand, you have the password. You can create a provision package, take it in USB, unbox each Surface Hub by installing by connecting the USB 3 and installing the provision package in the UBE itself. Which means you don't have to configure the device for the rest of the setup, because you're already configuring the room account initially. So that's how you kind of save the time, particularly if you're trying to install multiple devices at a time. So this is one feature called as multiple device provisioning. So in case you're not doing it, in case there is no USB connected to it, it will skip and it will give you the other option. So this is the slide which will ask you about which provisioning package you're installing. Whether you're installing for one particular room, let's say alpha room, so then we'll have to install the provisioning package of alpha room or beta room or any other specific packages. It can be specific to user controls or specific to customization. So those provision packages also you can prepare in the Windows configuration design. So we will get into the settings part a little later when the settings comes, but this is the first run setup still. So we'll concentrate. So after the region specific, so then it'll ask you to connect to the Wi-Fi, the network. Basically here you can connect to Wi-Fi, as well as if it is Ethernet, you can connect Ethernet cable. Very, very important thing is Surface Hub 2S is not a regular device. It is a purpose-built device meant for meeting rooms, small to medium meeting rooms. And we keep saying all-in-one because it is self-contained. And moreover, this has an operating system called as Windows 10 Team Edition, which is a group operating system, which is a communal operating system, which is meant for collaboration, which is meant for sharing. So Surface Hub 2S is one of the most secure device on the earth, period. Why? Because it won't let you run the executable files, since this is going to a shared spaces not owned by a particular individual but used by all the people, all the colleagues. So it has to be more secure. So you will not be able to install any exe files. You'll not be able to ping to the device. You'll not be able to trace to the device. Again, as part of the security aspect, you will not be able to configure the Surface Hub 2S on a static IP. So don't assume that you will be able to configure a static IP and will access Surface Hub remotely through the web browser, like many of the devices these days. No, it is you can't do anything on the network. It is the most secure device. So only thing you can do is connect to Wi-Fi. Again, it will take a DHCP. Connect to Ethernet cable. Still, it will take through a DHCP. You can't assign a static IP. So once your connectivity part is over, most important thing is the device account. So this is the device account in the Microsoft documentation part of it. We call it as device account, but this is nothing but the room account because Surface Hub goes into a meeting room. So you have the meeting room which will be given by the IT or team of the company that you're going, either for POC, either for the permanent installation. So these details, I suggest you take it beforehand and check with them whether the room account that is going to be configured on the Surface Hub is ready or not. Because this is where most of the surprises. You go for POC or the installation in good faith, thinking that everything is ready. You just have to go there and configure, and you will be out in a few minutes. No, it doesn't happen like that. It's always a good practice to send the checklist prerequisites before. We have a format for it as part of the sharing, the content sharing after this training. I'll also include that. So I suggest you send that mail at least 2-3 days before. If you're doing a POC, even for the permanent installation, that will speak about the prerequisite, what is expected, what is required, and from network point of view, from proxy point of view, from VPN point of view, from the Wi-Fi, or whatever customization settings that you need, you collect it beforehand and go for the installation or the POC before prepared. So device account, either you call it as device account, room account, resource account, equipment account, it all means the same. Okay, so you may call it as device account because Microsoft documents speak like a device account. The customer may call it as room account. The Microsoft 365 admin portal may call it as the resource or equipment account. It all means the same. So don't get confused. So once you configure the device account, it needs more information in case it needs any exchange information. If it is on-premise or the hybrid situations, which is not on the cloud, then you may have to manually enter the exchange address. Now, very, very important thing again here is it needs to be configured with a device account, in turn basically a room account. So in particularly Middle East, because this device is also being used as the CXO device, particularly for the senior management, decision makers at the high level, they would like to keep the device for themselves, and they would like to configure their own account as if it belongs to them. We do agree, we have come across those situations and they would like to configure it, but this is not a best practice. Why? This is a collaboration device meant for meeting rooms, okay? So obviously it has to be configured with the room account. So if you configure with the user account, see there's a difference between user account and room account. User account is meant for you. So you have the personal devices, individual devices, be it your mobile, you configure with your email or Teams, our clients are configured with that, or be it your tablet or 2-in-1, 3-in-1s, or be it your work laptop or desk station. These are all configured with your room accounts. You have a control on it. You are the owner of it. You are the owner of your productivity. If anybody sends you a meeting request, you have the option of either accepting it or denying it, depending on your time or free or busyness, or your priority for that meeting, whether you're required or not. The room accounts, by logic or not, there's no owner for the room accounts. Okay, so there's nobody actually operating. The individual account, user accounts, which is in case like you are the user, so you have the option of like interacting with the meeting request or emails. The user room accounts, not by logic, they're not. There's nobody setting it to operate the room account. They are logical, they're configured in the backend, and they work on their own. The only information that they have is the free or busy information. As when you're trying to book the meeting room or the Surface Hub, if it is free, it will automatically accept. If it is not, if there is a conflict, it will automatically send you the confirmation, whether or not free or not busy. So this is the only thing that it does. Okay, so by that logic, so it has to be configured with the room account or device account. So as a best practice, we don't suggest it for the the CXOs. In case they still insist, you can make their user account as the room account. You can change it, or they can join the Surface Hubs as one of the users. So apart from the room account, which is going to be configured on the Surface Hub, you also have the time specific, schedule specific logging into the device as a user. So when let's say you schedule a meeting between 3 to 4 p.m. You walk up to the room, you will see the meeting information, and you click a join button there, and it joins the meeting room. So during this collaboration session, you would like to bring your content. You don't need to bring your laptop. You don't need to bring your device. You can just log into the session called as My Meetings and Files. So once you log in, you will have access to all your details, be it recent files, your meetings for the day, and all the details are synced for that session. It's a session specific. It's not permanently logged in. So you are one of the user of the Surface Hub. Like other colleagues, you will have to book it, you have to schedule your meetings, and you have to use it. So same way, the CEOs, the decision makers at higher level also can permanently log in. Maybe they come into the office in the morning and then they log out, end their session in the evening. That's the best practice that you have to tell to them. You have to convey to them. So the room account is configured. So you will have something called as the family name. Next is the family name. It automatically takes sometimes if it is configured in the Office 365 or Microsoft 365. If not, you can always change it. The family name is nothing but which is visible on the left-hand side bottom. It is the identity of the device. Apart from the account, which is like interacted for the users, like they have to schedule it, also useful for the conferencing, for the teams, making and receiving calls. This identity is for the in-room collaboration. This is how you identify the Surface Hub device which is in the room. Also by the room account, obviously. The left-hand side bottom, you'll see a name. Most likely it can be a room name. Let's say in my case, we have a room called as Burj Takmiya. So I configured as Burj Takmiya Surface Hub because in the floor, in the office, we have multiple meeting rooms. That particular meeting room's Surface Hub device has to be identified. So this is particularly for the in-room collaboration. So why in-room collaboration? Surface Hub obviously can be used for conferencing, collaboration, but if there is no such activity going on, you also can use Surface Hub for your own local slides or local presentations. You can just connect your device. It can be a Windows device, it can be Android devices, it can be tablet, that laptop that you mirrorcast to it, and you can just run the local learning, local brainstorming sessions. So in which case you need to know that family name. So the family name is configured there, and you also have the device name. Device name is basically an object in the Azure Active Directory or on-premise Active Directory, where it identifies the asset. Right? It's an IT asset. So like saying that Surface Hub, or maybe some number, some floor, you have some identity. So these can be manually changed by going to settings. So this can be, it need not be a permanent setup. It can be changed. So room account has to be, ideally has to be a permanent setup. That's what the most important thing. Now we have configured the room account on the Surface Hub. The most important thing is the management of the device. So room account is for the users who schedule their meetings and come and use it as per their schedules and as per their specific sessions. If there's no schedule, if the room is free, they can still walk in ad hoc and use it for the requirement and leave. But during these sessions, if any customization is required, if anybody needs some support, okay, the users cannot do anything. The users only can schedule it, only can share it for remote collaboration using the Teams app, Skype for Business, or the Office 365 app, Line of Business apps, or in-room collaboration. But users are not meant to access the settings and do the customization like your regular devices, like your laptop or mobile. Okay, laptop or mobile, on your laptop, you can just go to settings and customize the way you want it. Okay, be it battery settings, be it connecting to devices, Bluetooth devices, be it any such customization. The Surface Hub needs IT admin to log into it. Not every users can log into it. So for the management purpose, this is called as device management. So you have three options. One, the local admin. Second is the Active Directory domain joining. The third one is the Azure Active Directory. So we'll start with the local admin. Yeah, so 2 slides back. Yeah, so local admin, as any device you configure, the password stays on the device. Okay, so let's say you're configuring for the ease of use, and it's very easy to configure the local admin, and you just can give the admin and the password and you go. Now what happens? Let's say during any of the user sessions, you're asked to support. Let's say come to the meeting room saying that camera is not working, maybe pen is not working, maybe the pen battery is over, you need to replace the pen battery and then pair it once again. Users can't do it. As a admin, you are supposed to go to that meeting room on call, log into your settings app, and support do this. And as a periodically maintenance also, it's a good practice to check all the settings quite frequently. So if you create a local admin, the password stays on the device. So it physically you have to remove the password. Let's say you're in the office today, tomorrow you're on leave, you're traveling. So you need to change. You need to give that the username password to your colleague, maybe from IT. He has to get it either on text or WhatsApp, and then he has to physically enter it in front of everyone. So there's no specific or privacy there. The username he shared over the text or WhatsApp on the phone, and it maybe over the period of time it may be known to everyone. So that's not a good practice. Okay, so still some companies, for the ease of use, they prefer the local admin, up to them, but always makes sense. Also a good practice to keep them informed what the difference between the local admin or the domain joining Active Directory or Azure Active Directory. So local admin is clear. Now the domain join. Some of the companies, for the security purpose, will have some policies, conditional policies. Unless the device is joined to the domain, you will not have access to their Exchange, Outlook, or any such network infrastructure provisioning, not even to the Wi-Fi. So you need to join to the domain, and then once you join to the domain, then you will have access to their network infrastructure, and also single sign-on will work, OneDrive will work, all this. Okay, so it is a good practice to keep them informed, take their consent, and configure the way they want it. Okay. Now the difference between a local admin and a domain joining is local admin, the password stays on the device. Okay, you have to crudely share the password, text, WhatsApp, or phone, and maybe that will proliferate, over the period of time. Whereas when you join to a domain, particularly to a work group. So this is how it is done. So set up an admin account using the domain join. So when you join to a domain, you join to a particular work group. Okay, this work group can be, since obviously the device has to be maintained by IT, so it has to be the work group which these people who are going to support the Surface Hub has to be part of it. So it can be a support desk, it can be help desk, it can be it can be a security group where only they have access to the Surface Hub. So that needs to be configured, particularly joined to that particular work group. So only people who are part of that work group can only access the Surface Hub for the maintenance purpose, for the administration, for the device management. Okay, so if you join to let's say a work group called as service desk, so only people who are part of service desk can access, and when they access, they can access with their own username and password. So they don't have to share usernames and passwords between them. And let's say you have sometimes duties on rotation. Some people are on leave, some people have emergencies, traveling. In such scenarios, it will be very useful to join to the domain. So you let's say a person supporting is on duty, he will be called for support. He can join with his own username and password. When let's say he's on leave tomorrow, he's not in the office, and he need not be called. So whoever is there is part of the same service desk work group. They can also join the settings app with their own username and password. Same thing goes for the Azure Active Directory, except that Azure Active Directory is on the cloud. So theoretically, there's no difference between joining to a local domain and Azure Active Directory. Just like Exchange is on premise, Exchange is on cloud. So Active Directory is on premise, Active Directory is on the cloud. So Active Directory also you can join to particularly a specific work group. Till recently, before October last year, when you join to a Azure Active Directory, only the global admin can join. This is not the case anymore, particularly with the latest the operating system update, Teams 2020 update, which is just released last week onwards. So you can join the Surface Hub to device to a particular work group on the Azure Active Directory as well. So now is the knowledge check. So the room account, when you create the room accounts, obviously you will not have access to the creation of the room account. The company IT department or the Active Directory admin, domain admin, the network, see their IT department, IT team does all the configuration, and they give you account to configure on the Surface Hub. So you will not have access to. But as someone who is going for the POC, someone who's going to support these devices as a concept also, you need to know what is what. So room account, how to create a room account, it's there on the support documentation site. Surface Hub, create a device account for the Surface Hub. You can check it there. So apart from creating the room account, you need to add the ActiveSync policy. You need to set the password for it. So as a knowledge check, the ActiveSync policy is assigned to resource account mailbox. It's true. Keep in mind, you can assign the ActiveSync policy to a resource account mailbox as long as you're running the Exchange Online or Exchange 2016. So the summary so far: Surface Hub integrates with the backend services, be it Teams or Skype for Business, on-premise, hybrid, Exchange on-premise or hybrid, or in cloud, or Skype for Business. And so we have to create the device account on the Microsoft 365 admin portal, or complete it through PowerShell or Office Admin Center. And we have completed the out-of-the-box experience, the first run configuration. So now I will show how do we create the user account. You don't need to do it. Mostly the IT department would have done it. You will not have access. But as someone supporting, you need to know it. So I'll share the document here. So this is what we have covered. This is the documentation site for the Surface Hub 2S documentation. You just Google Surface Hub 2S setup, and then it will obviously will link to any of the subdomains or subsections of this particular page. So first time setup of the Surface Hub 2S, we already covered this part in detail. Now part of this, you need to know the user account, the device account creation. So this is how you create the device account on Microsoft 365 admin portal. So create account via admin center. So you can go to admin.microsoft365.com and admin.microsoft.com, and this is will give you. You'll have to go to left side. You will have the users, active users, and left side tab. You'll have to if it is not seen, you will have to expand the settings. You will see something called as resources. Under resources, you will see something called as rooms and equipment, and that's where you need to add the resource. Okay, as I said before, resource, room, device account, equipment account, all interchangeably used. So this is how you create a room account. Give it a name, any room, and give it a device, and then obviously email at the tenant, and capacity of the room. If you'd like to match the details, how many people going to be there in the room, what is the seating capacity, or location of the room, or it can be floor information, it can be corner information, and it can be, if the room has any particular phone number extension, you can mention that as well. And since you're creating this room account, this will be reflected in the Exchange as well as the Active Directory. So once you create the room account, you have to allow repeat meetings on or automatic processing of the calendar, because the room accounts by default logically or they have to automatically process the calendar request, unless there are delegates. Sometimes the CEO's personal meeting rooms are kind of delegated. So CEO wants to his personal secretary to decide his priority and book the rooms. So you can set up the delegates for the room accounts as well in the room accounts provision, and in which case they will accept the meetings or they will deny the meetings depending on the priority, depending on the availability. And so that will come to that will not be automatic process, but that will come to once they accept, information will come to the room account to be displayed on Surface Hub or room booking systems or room management systems. By default, the password is created, so you can change the password, auto-generated password, or create the strong password. And this is, you're going to need it while configuring the Surface Hub. And so you have the username, you have the product license. You have to, once you create the room account, you will have to obviously assign a license to it. So since you're going to use Teams for the conferencing, more often it is the Teams. If it is still Skype for Business on-premise or the hybrid, you can configure off Skype for Business. If it is Teams, which is obviously cloud-only application, cloud-only service, you need to minimum assign Office 365 E3 license, minimum. It will not work on Office 365 E1 because the Teams as a service will be missing there. So you need to assign Office 365 E3 at least. Okay, so that's the meeting room license. E3 will have the meeting room license by default. If you're going to manage the device through Intune, which is the part of the enterprise mobility and security, which is the mobile device management, you need to assign at least Office 365 E5 license, because Intune comes only in E5. Okay, in the hybrid setups, this is done. You're finished. Room account is ready. If everything is on the cloud. Okay, you have the Teams, you have the Exchange on cloud. Basically, it's the Office 365 account. Everything is on the cloud. Exchange is on the cloud. Teams obviously on the cloud, and your Active Directory is on the cloud. So you're finished. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. But you have a hybrid setup. You need to create a PowerShell to complete the process. So you need to do a PowerShell to Exchange Online Management. So this is the PowerShell that you need to copy, and you have to change the user principal name, the UPN, what we call it as, to, this is the example. So you have to copy it from here and go to PowerShell, paste it there, change the UPN name to the room account that you're going to configure it, and create a mailbox. Here, example is given as surfacehub.contoso.com, but you need to change it to the tenant and domain, what you're going to configure it for. Then set the calendar processing for auto and enable active sync, and connect to Azure AD. So these are all PowerShell commands if you need to do PowerShell commands. We will not be covering this PowerShell in this session. There are detailed sessions, because if I, we already 1 hour into this session already. So if I go that deep, we will not be able to cover the other topic today. So you can go through this documentation, watch the videos. There are these topics we already covered during the last year sessions, April and June. These are recorded and archived. You can ask your respective country's partner account manager, be it Karan in UAE, Shinsi in Qatar, or Jude in Oman, or Imran in Kuwait, or Bebu in Bahrain. So you can ask these people to give you access to the archived record sessions of last year. They will arrange it with the help of marketing, and you can just go to this deep dive and deep level configurations. Otherwise, it's easy. But one more thing, you will not be doing it because IT will not give you access to creating their room accounts. It is either created beforehand, or they will be creating it for you in coordination with you. They may ask you to sit next to it, but unless you ensure the compliance, what is required, and then you will encounter the problems later. So just go through this documentation at your leisure in detail and come to it. But if everything is on cloud, you don't have to worry about it. The configuration is done. The Surface Hub configuration is hardly done in about 15-20 minutes flat. That's it. Right? So the configuration, room account creation is also covered. Let me check the next session, next topic. Yeah. Next is the management of the device. We have configured we did the first run out of the box experience. We configured the device account. We configured the admin account, device management account, whether joining the local admin or joining to domain or joining to Azure AD. So once that is done, obviously you need to keep supporting and keep customizing it and have the control on the device, either through local admin or either through the Intune. Okay. So this is the manageability story. There are various ways you can manage the device settings of the Surface Hub. So let's start at the bottom, which is the local settings, local admin. And if you created a local admin, which is obviously the password stays with you, stays on the device, you know it, you log into the device. And so you go to each settings and then customize. Obviously, it's easy to understand, but very important, this is not a regular Windows 10 Pro or the Enterprise. This is the purpose-built operating system, and it is as an interface easy to configure. Some may require the provision packages, so you need to create that customization provision package through Windows Configuration Designer and take the provision package through USB to the device and add the device. So till recently, the Teams app was provisioned either in the mode 0, mode 1, or mode 2, depending on the requirement, because the Surface Hub device supports both Sky for Business as well as Sky for Business, the Teams. So both on-premise hybrid Sky for Business as well as Teams, which is cloud only. Depending on the situation, depending on the environment, so you need to you were supposed to provision the package depending on the priority. Whether you would like to have the Sky for Business app still supporting Teams if the customer is in transition mode, or you would like to have the Teams app still supporting the Sky for Business app, or if you would like to only have the Teams logo there because you completely moved to the Teams. Depending on situation, you need to provision the package for the Teams app. It is changed since last week. We have the Windows 10 Team Edition 2020 rolled through Windows update from last week. So you don't need to provision the package, the Teams provisioning package anymore. Okay, but if you are on the old build still, I would suggest I'll take this medium to instruct and kind of warn you, you need to update your Surface Hubs as early as possible. The support for the old builds, particularly 1503 and 1703, is stopping from, if I get it right, from March 16th onwards, because the new OS, the Teams 2020 update, is released globally from October 27th last year onwards, and particularly from US and Europe. In between there was a pause, there was some known issues. Now it is resolved, and it was even then, even though it was paused during through the Windows update, it was available as the BMR, the base metal recovery image, through the USB. So many of you support people who are in touch with me have gave the access. It's still on the support side. You can download the 7.5 GB image, and through the USB you can re-image the device. That's the offline. You can just download and create a recovery drive and re-image the device. Unlike that, now the Teams 2020 update already officially started rolling out through Windows 2020 update. So you have to just go to the settings app, go to Windows, the update and security, and run the OS update. So it would take, depending on the network speed, the bandwidth that you have, it may take about half an hour to 1 hour. And then we will restart maybe 1 or 2 times, and then we'll have the Teams 2020 update. If it doesn't happen, okay, and you have any difficulty, either network or some of the other times, the Windows update is blocked in the enterprise environment, the government environment, they don't have access to the Windows update or the store for that matter, because we have come across these situations many places. You can always download the image through the download site. Just go to the Surface Recovery Image, just Google Surface Recovery Image. You need the serial number. You can get the serial number from Surface app, just the Surface app on the Surface Hub. Note down the serial number. That is what you needed to download the BMR image, the base metal image. Once you download, create a recovery drive, preferably with the USB 3 at least 16 GB, because the image itself is 7.5 GB and you would need at least 16 GB, preferably USB 3. Why? Because the USB 3 transfer rates are faster. Your job is done maximum 35 minutes to 40 minutes. If you don't have USB 3 and you still are using the old pen drives USB 2, it may take sometimes up to 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So in order to save, I would suggest use USB 3. Right? So local settings can be done through the access to the settings app as well as through the provision packages. And apart from this, through the cloud, we have MDM, mobile device management, Intune, and also it supports to the management is also supported through the third-party MDMs. This is what the local settings will look like. Admin need to be in front of the device, and the optics are the interface is quite similar. You go to the settings app on your device, the Windows 10 Pro, or on your particularly on laptop is Windows, and it looks similar, but the functionality is totally different. So you have something called as device account. That's where you configure the room account, and you have the device management for joining the creating a local admin or the adding to the domain. And then you have the apps and features. When you click, when you open store, that's where you download the apps specific to your requirement, line of business applications, or industry specific applications, or even updating the basic apps which are there, be it Word, Excel, PowerPoint, be it OneDrive, be it Power BI, be it even the Teams can be updated through the apps and features and opening the store. Then for in-room collaboration, you have the Miracast, which supports both Android and Windows devices inbuilt. You don't need any external provisioning or any external app. So the device supports the Miracast, both Wi-Fi direct as well as the Miracast over infrastructure. We also call it as Miracast over network, also called as Infracast. So there are two different things. Miracast is Wi-Fi direct as well as over infrastructure. Wi-Fi direct is you take your phone if it is Android phone, because it Android by default supported, or Windows device, Windows tablet, or Windows device. It can be any branded laptop for that matter. Or if all this supports Miracast, what you have to press on the device is Windows key plus K, and then you will see the family name which is there on the left side bottom, which you configured during the first run configuration. You will see them. You just connect to it, and you're ready to Miracast. So as I said before, two types. Wi-Fi direct, which is also called as Miracast, as well as Miracast over infrastructure. The difference is you don't need to join to the network of the Surface Hub. The Surface Hub is joined to Wi-Fi, it's on the network, but as a guest, as a user, you need not be on the same Wi-Fi network, need not be on the same LAN, because it supports Wi-Fi direct. Okay, that's how, because ease of use. Okay, so you see the name, family name, you connect to it. You can connect it through from your Android devices as well as the Windows devices. Android devices, some call it as screen mirroring, some call it as wireless projection, some call it as on latest Samsung devices, I think they started calling it as SmartWeave. So if you just click on the SmartWeave on the Samsung Galaxy devices, you will see the family name and you connect to it, and your Android device is already Miracasted to Wi-Fi direct to the Surface Hub device. This is for the in-room collaboration. Same way, you can connect your Windows devices. Any branded, need not be Surface. It can be HP, Lenovo, Dell, as long as they support Miracast. You can, the screen mirror to the Surface Hub. Press Windows key plus K, and you can, screen mirror your device to the Surface Hub. Now the difference is Android supports the screen mirroring, wireless projection. The Windows devices, apart from supporting screen mirror, wireless projection, you also have an exclusive feature called as touchback and inkback. Okay, if you're doing an in-room collaboration, your PowerPoint slides are on the laptop. You're just Miracasted to the Surface Hub. You actually can control laptop from the Surface Hub. Okay, that is when you connect it, you will have a setting called as allow keyboard control and mouse control. If you enable it, if you just click it while just when you connected it, you go to Surface Hub, you actually can operate your laptop through the Surface Hub. So because it supports exclusive feature called as inkback and touchback. So though on Surface Hub, you're in front of the Surface Hub, you're actually working on the laptop. So this is very exclusive. Use it, in positioning against the competition. So touchback and inkback features. This is very exclusive. Obviously, Android being a different ecosystem from competition from Google, the Google supports the Miracast, but you can't obviously touchback and inkback. So now Android devices are taken care, the Windows devices are taken care. Obviously, the most common device is obviously the iPhones, iPads, iOS devices, for which is the limitation is not from us. The limitation is from the iOS ecosystems. They don't allow the devices to to be connected to externally. So you need an app. They don't allow the access to the images or the screen share or something from the from Google or Android. So you need an app. So you need to download an app called as Air Server app. Air Server is the Miracast app. The Air Server app supports all the three ecosystems, be it Google's Chromecast, Android devices, be it Microsoft Miracast, also Apple's AirPlay. They call it as AirPlay. So this app supports all the three ecosystems. Another advantage is it supports up to 5 devices at a time. Unlike the inbuilt Miracast, which supports one device at a time, either Android, either Windows, one at a time. But Windows, it also supports touchback and inkback. And if you go for the Air Server app, this supports all the three and up to 5 devices at a time. Okay, so very important, because this is a very most common question. How do I connect to Apple devices, iOS device, iPhones and iPad? So you can do that with the help of the Air Server app. Now this Air Server app is initially 60 days trial lessons. After that, you need to pay, and it's a subscription just like Office 365, Microsoft 365, and that is about $100 or 100 pounds depending on the region. And so you can use that app because it supports all the three ecosystems. One advantage. Second advantage, it supports up to 5 devices at a time. So you can connect your Samsung phone, like Android phone, to the Surface Hub while being connected from the iPhone or iPad. Still, you can connect your Windows devices up to 5 devices if it is Surface Hub 50 inch. If it is Surface Hub 85 inch, you will be able to connect up to 8 devices. That's what the app documentation says. Right, so through the local settings, the Miracast is taking care. Sometimes you will also come across situations where you will have the pixelation not connecting properly. So go to the projection Miracast settings and change the default channel, because the Miracast works on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi has its own channel, particularly 2 bands, 2.4 as well as the 5 bands. 5 gigahertz band, and both of these bands have the own channel. The most common channels are 1, 6, 11, 36, 49 if it's 2.4, and if it's 5 gigahertz, any channel above 149. So the Miracast, I told you, works on Wi-Fi as the technology, and our Miracast supports both Wi-Fi direct as well as Miracast over infrastructure. So for connecting your devices, be it Android devices or tablets or Windows devices, you don't need to be connected to the network of the Surface Hub. Okay, if let's say Surface Hub is connected to company's Wi-Fi network, as an user, you don't need to be connected. Okay, you can just Wi-Fi direct it, Miracast. But for security reason, if the company does not allow these devices to be kind of projected to using Miracast to project to Surface Hub, the Surface Hub also supports the Miracast over infrastructure, Miracast over network, or what we call it as infracast. So the Miracast signal will flow through the channel, the network, basically. Okay, it supports both. So we'll try changing if it is Miracast over infrastructure, and your channel, the Miracast channel, has to match the Miracast channel which is set on the network, the access point, basically. So find out the access point channel that they're using. It can be any channel. It can be sometimes dynamic channel also. So find it out and configure it accordingly. So this is one of the most common troubleshooting that you come across. Apart from the Miracast, for calling audio, this setting is particularly for the Sky for Business on-premise hybrid environment, where the domain are different than the actual domain. So you can just change the domain for the calling and then configure it there. You don't need to touch that for the Teams if you're using the Teams app. Then you have the welcome screen, the initial wallpaper that you can customize, change it to company's logo, company's branding, or you can set the wallpaper. And then you have the session and power settings, where, as I said before, it is more secure device. If you're having a session and let's say you get a phone, you walk away from the Surface Hub, and nobody should have access to what is being discussed, right? So if nobody is there in the room, obviously the system goes into sleep mode. It'll off the screen, and obviously after some time sitting, even it can deactivate the device itself. Basically, device also goes to sleep apart from the screen itself. So if you come back, let's say it's a tendency when you get a phone, you just try to walk and then you walk away from the device, because the device has the ambient sensor. It doesn't sense you that you're in front, and it automatically goes to a sleep mode. So when you come back, you have the option of either resuming or end the session. It automatically can end the session for security reason. So depending on the need, you can customize these settings. You want the provision to come back and resume the session, or for security reason, you don't want just end the session, you can configure. But see to know that if you configure it for end the session, it wipes off. It doesn't save anything automatically. Ends the session. That's it. Then you have the BT settings, the Bluetooth settings for connecting the third-party peripherals, or connecting the pen, or you can enhance the Surface Hub experience into bigger meeting rooms, larger meeting rooms by integrating the AV equipment, be it the third-party cameras, be it the sound systems, conference calls. Some of those work on BT, so you can configure on the BT as well. Some work on USB, so you can connect to the USB as well. Network settings, it connects on Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and proxy. Okay, so it's as simple as that. It doesn't take static IP. You have to connect it through the DHCP. So Ethernet also has to be enabled for DHCP, and then it takes the IP. When you go to settings and then you see hardware information, then you will see the IP that it has got. But still, you will not be able to access the Surface Hub over the web server or over the network. So that's it. Ease of access for the narration, magnifier, those kind of features. Privacy, you have the location and privacy controls, and you have the Windows Update, recovery, BitLocker, and all these features. We are kind of running into overtime. So for the topic, so I'll stop it here. I think we covered the local settings. Then we will have the Intune settings. I'll try to cover this as well immediately. The next is the password rotation. So if you want to the system to automatically rotate the password, what you configured for security reasons, you can enable the password rotation. It automatically changes the password on its own every week and syncs with your Active Directory or Azure Active Directory, and you will not know password. So next time you want to change the account, you need to change the password in the directory, Active Directory, or the admin portal, and come back and configure it again here. This is for the security reasons. Proxy and internet, it supports both proxy and proxy setup, VPN setup, both manual proxy as well as the automatic proxy. So this is where you can configure the proxy to script also it's supported. You have a documentation for it. BitLocker encryption, in order to recover the device, you need the BitLocker because as I said, it's most secure device. So if you join to a domain, the BitLocker key is saved to the domain in the computer object. But if not, you need to save the BitLocker key on a USB. So very important, if you configure by any chance Surface Hub on a local admin, unless you save the BitLocker key on a USB, right side bottom, it'll keep reminding you every now and then. When you don't want it, it'll keep asking you to save it. Okay, you need this when you try to recover the image. Something happened to, in rare case, something happened to the device. You want to recover the device, so you need the BitLocker. When you join to a domain, the BitLocker key is automatically saved to the Active Directory to computer object, so you don't need to worry. So as I told you, this. So that's it. We will see the Intune part quickly as well in 5 minutes. Microsoft has MDM called as Microsoft Intune Mobile Device Management Application, and which is obviously is a service which is part of Office 365, Microsoft 365, particularly E5 license. Okay, that is to manage the devices through the cloud. Intune. It's a single endpoint management solution, and it supports diverse ecosystem, not only Windows ecosystem. You can control Android, you can control iOS, Mac devices also. It's the modern management because everything is through cloud. You can streamline, automate, do deployment, all this through Intune. Provisioning of the packages instead of doing the packages through Windows configuration device designer, you can do deploy the packages through the Intune through the CSPs. So Intune, you have to do a little bit of preparatory work. On Azure Active Directory, you have to go to MDM authority and you have to say Intune as the MDM authority. Okay, so unless you do that, Surface Hub will not be able to join the Intune. So basically, you're delegating Intune as the MDM if you're using the Intune. But if it's a third party, you will have to configure the third party authority, MDM authority, basically. So this is how you do the Intune configuration. This is not on the Surface Hub, by the way. So this is on the portal.azure.com. This is the Intune access, Intune admin portal it is. Once you configure the profiles, you can manually enroll the Surface Hub into MDM. On the when you go to Settings app, left side you have the second tab, Device Management. So once you enter the Device Management, you have to manually enter the same room account as the file joining to the Intune. So this is how it will look like on the Settings app. Step 1, settings, Surface Hub, device management plus, add the plus, and then you have to enter the workhorse code. Just like the way you do it on Windows devices, but in this case, the interface is somewhat different. So once you enter in the Intune portal, you will be able to see the device that being enrolled into the Intune, then you can manage. Then you can do a lot of, this is the MDM process. We can skip because this is deep level. Yeah, assigning settings to Intune, this is important. Yeah, so the configuration of the Surface Hub, if you want to do anything, if you have mass deployment of Surface Hub Mini in the enterprise, instead of going through each device through pen drive configuration packages, uploading and adding the packages, doing customizations, we can do everything all together through the Intune mobile device management, and we can create a profile for the Surface Hubs and add configuration packages through the Intune. This is how it is done, sample configuration with the built-in template. For the maintenance settings available, so you can customize the start time, duration in hours, and browser homepage, or you can configure, do all this customization by default if you are into branding. So only that particular browser starting page will be that particular page. Apart from this, these are the very elaborate CSPs. The CSP here doesn't stand for Cloud Solution Provider, which in case as a partner you are the Cloud Solution Provider. CSP here stands for Configuration Service Profile or Configuration Service Provider. Okay, so these are the in-depth, the customization profile. Someone yesterday asked me whether we can disable the USB. Yes, you can do it only through Intune. You can't do it through any other means. So if you have the Intune management, you can allow USB drives or disallow. You can do that. So these are all the customizations. So welcome screen background image, or requires pin for the wireless projection, Miracast. So these all you can instead of doing it for one particular individually one by one, you can do through the group policy through the Intune all at once. So that's it on the Intune. I just would like to quickly summarize before we get into the next topic, because only half an hour left for the next topic. So we covered the Surface Hub introduction. We covered the Surface Hub unboxing, and the setting up of the physical setup, mounting of the Surface Hub, the steel case ROM, which is a mobile trolley, APC charge, which is a battery, and then we did the first run setup, also called as Ube, the out-of-the-box experience. And then we got into the management of the device, admin management, joining the domain or Azure domain, and then we did the manageability story, local admin, local settings, or the Intune. Okay. A small topic is pending called as reset and recovery. You can go through the documentation. It is very important because when you join to when you create a local admin, or if you want to join to a domain, let's say you join by mistake, in a hurry you created a local admin, but later on you realize that you need to join to a domain, this device need to be again reset. Okay, unlike your Windows device, you can go to Office, then you join to a domain and unjoin it, and then you can do all this on the fly. The Surface Hub does not allow you to do that. It's more secure device. So in order to change the device management mode from the local admin to domain join to Azure domain join Active Directory, you need to reset the device. So this is what it called as resetting it through recovery or reimaging. You can do a recovery through USB, take the same BMR image that I spoke about some time back, which you can download from the obviously Surface recovery image, enter the serial number, copy it to the USB. You can recover through the USB. Or you can just go to the settings app, go to the update and security, and recover from there itself. And then you need a BitLocker if it's joined to a domain, if you're joining the mode from domain to a local admin. Okay, so this is very important. If you don't do a BMR, the basic base metal imaging USB method, it may take, if you're trying to reset the device from the device itself, because you have entire full stack of the operating system, sometimes it may take 2 to 6 hours. It is 7.5 GB image and it is most secured image and it takes time. Okay, so always, since all of you are the partners and partner support personnel here, I suggest always keep a USB, 16 GB USB, preferably 3, with the recovery image always ready. You never know when you need it, but when you need it, it comes handy with the big base metal recovery image. You will be able to complete it in maximum half an hour.
And Pradeep, if you allow me to add this one.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, just if you use a Type-C USB stick, it will be much faster even.
Oh, yeah. So
maybe
it's
it's
faster than the USB 3.
Yes.
Yes, you're right in saying that. Yes.
Yeah. It saves ages. Yeah.
Right. So now done for the Surface Hub 2S, the architecture setup and the configuration and kind of bit of troubleshooting as well. But I would suggest you to go through the documentation thoroughly. I've shared the documentation site. We can share it once again and go through it. Now, one important announcement, I'll just take 2 minutes. As a partner, as part of the partner readiness, you are supposed to have your own demo tenant. So if you're properly onboarded with the Microsoft Partner Network ID, okay, so you will have access to all the Microsoft portals, be it Partner University, be it the tech community, be it the learn side, support side, or be it creating for the demo tenant also. So you will have ease of use and ease of access when you have the MPN ID, when you registered as the partner network. So ensure that all the partners, support personnel particularly, have access to this, and go to this site called as demos.microsoft.com. Now recently it's changed to cdx.transform.microsoft.com. But still, even if you type demos.microsoft.com, you will be redirected to cdx.transform.microsoft.com. Here, if you are a legit onboarded proper Surface partner, you will be able to create a demo tenant. So if you're going to do a lot of Surface device demos, not only restricted to Surface hubs, also Surface other devices. If you want to show the ease of use and productivity as the solution, collaboration as the solution, all this, I would request you to all to create the demo tenant and use it for yourself. Some of partners, some in UAE, some in Qatar, already have the demo tenants for themselves and using it. And most of the partners are new in this session, so I would suggest just ensure that you have access to demo tenants, because that will be useful for your demos and POCs. So can we start the Windows Autopilot session? Okay, so since we don't have much time, we have 25 minutes left, and I'll try to cover this as fast as possible. We may need extra few minutes, but we'll start Windows Autopilot. Okay. Share my screen. Yeah. So you have a dedicated page for the Windows Autopilot. Just Google Windows Autopilot, and you have a dedicated page for the Windows Autopilot. Windows Autopilot is the set of technologies and process for the pre-deployment, pre-provisioning of the devices. What we called as zero-touch deployment, also meant for the modern management. So you can deploy these devices without unboxing. So we spoke about Surface Hub unboxing, setting up, physical setting up, mounting, first run configuration and all that. When it comes to devices, individual devices, particularly laptops, Surface devices, you can do that. IT team can actually hand over the devices to the actual end users directly without touching it, without unboxing it and setting for each users themselves. Okay, so that technology is called as Windows Autopilot. We call it as zero touch deployment, minimal touch deployment, and for the modern management. So more information is available. Just Google Windows Autopilot and you'll come to know. And you also have this site called as overview of the Windows Autopilot. This is on the support documentation, dedicated support documentation site for the Windows Autopilot. Here it is, but you also have the video here explaining the in deep detail. So I just would like to give you some references and case studies for the Windows Autopilot. So as I told you, conceptually, the Windows Autopilot is deployment, the zero touch deployment. So what is zero touch deployment here is in the traditional setup, the users request for the devices, and IT department advises it, approves it, and it goes to purchase department, and purchase department procures the devices, and they hand it over to IT department. IT team has to unbox it and each device and set it up for the user. So what we call it as unbox it and see the user controls, update the operating system, update the apps, and if you have any user controls, any line of business, any specific applications, so it can be antivirus, it can be firewall, it can be customization, and in all the more you must be having a image, the corporate image for own purpose. So some of the enterprises, and for the most of the enterprises, have their own corporate image, and they would like to have their own corporate image on the devices. So they tell, if they are buying in bulk, particularly more in number, so they tell their provider, the device provider, whoever reseller is, so they tell to load the image beforehand. So most of the other vendors, apart from Microsoft, and they charge this for this task. Okay, so without taking the name, other vendors, so and their resellers, they charge because it's a revenue stream. Let's say any of the enterprise would like to buy 100 devices. In 100 devices, each device has to be unboxed and set it up. So it can be user controls, line of business application, customized. I told in detail, and it takes a lot of time. So just imagine that for few 100 devices, even tens for that matter, going to take a lot of time. All this can be done through the cloud. Okay, all this can be done through the cloud. What we call it as pre-provisioning or zero-touch deployment. In the modern way, the IT team does not need to unbox the device. They can straight away ask the reseller to deliver the device to the end user, actual user of the device. So he gets the feeling that he is getting the brand new device, and he has the happiness of unboxing himself because it's brand new. And when he connects to Wi-Fi, when he powers it up, he actually joining to the company's domain, because all the work is done in pre-deployment mode. All the work is done to the cloud. And so this is what we call it as zero-touch deployment. And the references are during the pandemic, the peak of pandemic that has set in last March onwards, particularly in UAE. For many enterprises, we actually, our resellers, UAE-based resellers, actually delivered these devices to the actual end users sitting at home, because it's a lockdown period. Nobody is allowed to move. Okay. If I can take the name, one enterprise here, a government company, has ordered about 1,800 devices before the pandemic. The delivery time has come, but the lockdown started. So we had to take the necessary permissions to deliver the devices to the employees, actual users sitting at home, and our resellers actually did it. And when they powered up, when they connected to their home Wi-Fi, device is actually booting into that company's domain. So everything is pre-work is done through the cloud, to the Windows Autopilot, which requires Azure Ready, which requires Intune MD, which requires Microsoft 365. All this is done through in Peak, and it is smoothly it is handed over to the users, and they don't even know that they have access to everything what is required for them. This is done for the big government enterprise. This is done for in education sector. If I can take the name Dubai College, sorry, Dubai College. It is done for the Jumeirah English speaking school, and this is still going on. Okay, as you know, the COVID numbers are up and down. The phases started, phase 2 or phase 3 started, and most of the schools or colleges still learning from home or homebound, and most of the employees or users are still at homebound, restricted access to office. They continue to use the devices from home, and without knowing what is missing. Everything is as if they're in the office. So this is called as Windows Autopilot, and I have given the reference. Now we would like to quickly run a small video, conceptual video, which will tell you about what is Windows Autopilot. Just give me a minute. I gave you the reference of the Windows Autopilot dedicated site. I gave you the reference of the overview, which is there in the documentation site. And I'll play this video, which is about 7 minutes video. So by the way, I spoke about the Microsoft Surface dedicated channel on the YouTube. Go there, watch all this. And apart from this, I also spoke about Microsoft's Mechanics, which is another channel which is there on the YouTube, which is Microsoft for the detailed technical information. Okay, now the third one is another channel called as Microsoft Helps. So this video that I'm going to play is from that channel called as Microsoft Helps. This will help you understand the Windows Autopilot in the simple terms, layman's language, quickly. So it's about 6 minutes video, and better than articulating a long, I would wish to run this so that you understand in layman term, and after that we'll get into the slides. So this will also give me a break.
Pradeep, there's no voice. Hello? Pradeep, you hear us? Pradeep, are you there?
Hi Pradeep, if you can listen.
Yeah. Sorry for that. I think I goofed up and I did not include the audio. Is that right?
Yeah, it's good. We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that. I think in a flow I just didn't include the YouTube's audio. I think we hardly missed anything. It was 2 minutes lost, but I'll just include it again. I noticed that after someone trying to speak to me. Just hold. So you get the audio now.
We know that deploying new devices can be a lot of work.
Yes.
And thankfully, we've been working on an amazing feature called Autopilot, and we have great news for you. It's specifically piloted on Surface, and it is a feature that came first on Surface, and it works really well. It's a great way to get the ball rolling and build that momentum in your deployment.
Yes, we're talking about kind of a seismic shift. There's the traditional way, since pretty much the dawn of enterprise computers, that we have imaged machines. That is wipe and reload. Here is the USB stick of doom, and I put that into the device, and then it completely erases everything, all of the drivers, all the updates, anything this device might have had going for it is gone. Now we put on this image. It was maybe created on some Lenovo 4 years ago, and the second that that image is applied, Windows Update says, oh goodness, you're actually a Surface. Here's every single driver. Here's every single thing that you're going to need. So with Autopilot, we want to change that, not have to completely erase everything. What if we modified the out-of-box experience of every Windows device in the world to include a check to say, hey, do I belong to a company? And have they set up Autopilot? So that is what we're thinking about for the new way, and we're going to walk you through exactly what that looks like. But here in sort of like this day in the life, let's say I'm an employee, I just started with a company. I'm receiving the device straight from the reseller that it was purchased from, shrink wrapped in its box to me at home. I turn it on, open it up. It automatically knows that it belongs to my organization. I simply type in my credentials that I've been provided, and then the device self-provisions. That is kind of this more modern way and modern approach to deployment. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Here's exactly how it works. We, Microsoft, make the Surface. Hooray. We provide those device IDs to your reseller or the partner in which you bought the devices from. They make these very kind of long device IDs, kind of a hash code. Those get uploaded to our Autopilot deployment service. So now what happens is, as a part of every out-of-box experience, it performs that check and sees if I belong to a company. Here's where you come in. You're responsible for configuring, hey, what exactly happens? What is our image going to look like? What tools, what programs do we want to install? So you configure Autopilot effectively. And currently that's using the Microsoft Store for Business. After that, the device, of course, can just ship directly to that employee. That person then receives the device, opens it, and then they self-deploy, which I understand sounds just a little scary, but I want to show you exactly what that looks like. So Josh, what do you say we set up a device together?
Sounds great.
Perfect. So first things first, the spinning circle, and then we're going to have English. Let's just choose United States for now. The keyboard layout, that's fine. And do we want another one? We don't. Okay, now we're going to connect to Wi-Fi. Guest Wi-Fi, your local Starbucks, or even your home Wi-Fi, it does not matter. So let's go ahead, we'll connect here to this network. I guess we'll agree to their terms. Okay, this is the important part. Right now it's doing a check, and it's making sure, hey, do I belong to someone? And then it says, I do. And so it directs us on a different out-of-box experience path. So here you'll see, welcome, Anna. And now it's prompting us to sign in with our company credentials.
What's really cool is seeing the logo there. It's all branded. It really feels, it's a really exciting welcome for the employee to be able to get their device on their doorstep that morning, open it up, and have it already feel personalized. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, us as technical people in the IT world, if you received a device that did this and kind of knew who you were, it's like, wow, Contoso's got their business together, right? Yeah, exactly. So let's go ahead and enter a password here. This will also support things like two-factor authentication, that sort of thing. And now it's going to set up that device. Now, these sequences are, of course, a little shortened. It does take a good moment, depending on how many things that you've set to be configured as a part of Windows Autopilot. Now we'll see it's installing certificates, Windows Defender, understanding our Wi-Fi networks at this company, making sure that all of those are able to connect seamlessly, installing things like Office and any line of business applications. Here's a check for Windows Hello, which is very important. It's biometric authentication. Your Surface devices have that built in. It's quite secure. So in this example, they require it. So we'll do that two-factor, set up a local PIN, and then after that is complete, we're all set. And lo and behold, we arrive at the Windows 10 desktop. And you'll notice a couple of things here. Now, this is, of course, something we had prepared, but you'll notice there's some locked tile groupings up at the top. That's a policy that can be set by IT, things that users can't customize while they retain the ability to personalize everything else. You'll see some line of business apps like Contoso PayStub, as well as the entire Office suite. So it really is whatever you're going to need for your users can be pre-provisioned inside of Autopilot.
We already mentioned why it's exciting for the users to get this device and have it already feel personalized. But from an IT perspective, what's really exciting is nowhere in this process that we've shown you do these devices end up in your office at the end of the day, and you just have this stack of boxes and device IDs you have to sort through and manually categorize. It's really set it and forget it with Autopilot, which is really exciting, and it's going to save you a lot of time on your deployment.
So Windows Autopilot is pretty new. So while it is ready to go, we encourage you to pilot it on your own. Try it out on a couple of devices. Add those into this kind of group that checks for Autopilot and see if you can get that configuration exactly as you need. We are listening very carefully to you and how Autopilot works in your organization. If something is missing, let us know. The team building Autopilot takes it very seriously because we see this as the future of deployment.
So we have very few minutes left. So respecting the time, I'm not running the slide deck, detailed slide deck on the Windows Autopilot. We've already covered this Windows Autopilot thoroughly last year in April and June. The recordings are still there, archived. You can get in touch with your partner account manager in each country and get access to it. Okay, these are ideally, both the topics are ideally dedicated days. They require dedicated days, dedicated focus, because Surface Hub 2S setup is a vast subject. It requires at least 2 hours. Okay, but then the event management as well as the marketing team told me that it is very difficult to get hold of you, quite frequently. And we had this experience. We actually did 5 days of training each week in April and in June, and we have realized that it's very difficult to get your time subsequent days. So marketing kind of requested me, try to cover this as much possible. So I try to do the justice. I'm not that happy because a lot left on the Surface Hub 2S, and I think we conceptually covered the Windows Autopilot. But so I think a lot is expected from you as well. See, as a trainer, I can complete. I can always stick to the time and say that completed. Learning is 2 ways. So I suggest that you go through the resources that I shared, I mentioned, I referenced to during the training, and learn from it. So I mentioned the Windows Autopilot dedicated site. I mentioned the overview. All this I have mentioned. So one important thing is I think this is what I can give you for the day, which I'm going to paste on the chart link. This is the update site, official update site for the Surface Hub 2S setup, configuration, all that. Anything that you need, technical information, apart from the documentation, official documentation site that you have already on the Microsoft Learn portals. This is the Sway site, which is maintained by my colleague Sylvain, and this is everything that you need for the Surface Hub 2S. Okay, now I'm going to paste the link for the updates for the Windows Autopilot. So here it is. This will be shared anyway after the training during the content. So we'll be referencing all this. So the second link is for the same Sway site dedicated for the Windows Autopilot. So go through these since you already have access before waiting for the mails to come, follow-up mails coming from our marketing team with the content, with the feedback. You can start accessing this information, right? So we have a few minutes. Any quick questions? Anyone? I hope whatever the questions, I have not referred to the chart because I was in a slideshow mode, so I could not have access to the chart as well as the activity what is going on. I believe Mohammed Attia and Sibusio has covered the charts. If not, I will have a check on it, and if required, I'll come back and we'll send you the documents. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Radin. Yeah.
Yeah, and most important, I request you to go through the documents sites, support sites, and I particularly the last 2 sites, the Sway sites that I mentioned, save this for you, bookmark it for you. More important than that, the today's actually task is given to me to you to ensure the demo tenants. So demos.microsoft.com. I will also, I think, paste it in the chart. Here you. If you're a newly onboarded partner, and you should be having the MPN access, which will give you access to all the relevant required Microsoft portals, including the demos. So ensure that you have access to this site. You will be able to open your own demo tenant, which will be dedicated for you. The demo tenant is valid for 1 year from the day you make it, and you will be able to conduct demos. Basically, that also helps you kind of in learning. You may not be having Office 365, you may not be having Office 365 E3 license, but this demo tenant has those. Okay, so you can configure those room accounts, you can create those room accounts, configure on the devices, test it, and make calls, receive call, collaborate, whatever you're going to give it to the, show it to the customers, practice at your own office, own premises. So this will help you a lot, as practice makes perfect. So do that quite a lot, I would request. And lastly, I'm not sure how many Microsoft fanboys are there in the with the audience. Microsoft Ignite is going on since yesterday, since last night, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, Microsoft Ignite. Normally in the GCC, the Ignite, the tour happens, but this year due to the pandemic, it is cancelled. But Ignite, the original Ignite is still happening, and it's a digital event this year, and it's online since last night. And in fact, I did not sleep last night till late into the night, and it is on. Just log into your Ignite site and participate. And there are many dedicated sessions, including there's one dedicated sessions for the Surface Hub. If you don't know what it is, I am just mentioning it in the chat as well. Right after this, and anyway, the weekend also starting. So 3rd up to 4th and 5th also it's there. I'm not sure, but check it out. It is at Microsoft myignite.microsoft.com. If you have your MPN NID and you're a legit onboarded partner, you will have access to this, and you can go through many knowledge forums. Apart from Surface Hub, Teams, and Azure, AI, anything and everything to do with Microsoft, you have. Apart from the topics we mentioned, Surface Hub, Surface for business devices, Hub and Windows Autopilot particularly, you can, with your own interest, curiosity, you can learn many things there. So that's it from me. The event organizers are going to send you the feedback link, either to the mail. I request to give your honest feedback on those feedback forms. I think Soumyadeep is already pasted it here, and I think you're going to get it on mail. I request each and every one of you, because to conduct this event takes a great deal of effort and time, and we've hired an agency, so they did this. And so to justify this, I request you, each and everyone, to give your honest feedback. Feedback helps us formulating the future agenda and correcting if any mistakes and all that. So I request you to give the feedback today itself if possible. If not, you want to take time, do it as early as possible. So exactly at your local time. So that's it from me. If anybody wants to say a few words, open. Aisha, if you're still there. Or Muhammad Atiyah or CBCO.
Yes.
Or anyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for organizing this session and doing this lovely presentation. Actually, it went very well. I like it so much, and I gained more experience, more than I have. And I got honored to meet our partners as well in this meeting. Just I would like to add one thing for the Surface. When it comes to the Surface or the Microsoft modern work, we have the Intune, like you said, and the Autopilot, and something called the White Gloves. We can even seamlessly, guys, when it comes to the large provisioning of, think about it like, if I have 10,000 employees and all of them in different locations in the same country, and we are in a lockdown. So what you will do, you will simply, like Pradeep have mentioned earlier, you can register through a CSP, and the CSP will make a provisioning of all those devices so that it can reach to the point that the end user will not only put anything, he will only put his password, or even he can use passwordless authentication from his app authenticator and then after maybe 15 minutes to 20 minutes, he will have his device ready or her device ready to work without any issues. Think about it to re-image 10,000 devices or something like this in case they are there. So it's a big problem in terms of manageability and rolling these devices. So Intune Autopilot White Gloves, it adds a lot to the table and save a lot of efforts and provide the best customer experience when it comes to the modern device management. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mohammed Attia. Thanks a lot for your words. So that's it from us. I request once again, please do fill the feedback form. Okay, so I'll go through the chat, and if any questions unanswered, we'll come back to you soon. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.